how much of one's life is a result of their past karma? Are the injustices and unfairnesses that one faces in one's life a result of their past karma? If so, do you accept these injustices and find solace in the fact that, okay, the karma is being cleared, even though it might seem detrimental to our lives in so many ways?
Samantha, you're old enough for this. I'm not saying you're old, I said you're old enough. Do you still expect the world to be fair to you?
That's why I'm asking this question. Can I blame it on my past karma is what I'm asking.
I want the world to be fair to me is a schoolgirl question. By now you should know the world is not fair. It will not be fair. But if you dig deep into yourself and have a taste of life, not a taste of your thought and emotion, the taste of life that you are, then you will see life is not just fair, it's just fantastic. So, do you want fair life or fantastic life? You must decide.
I've noticed this, that beyond the material ego, there is now suddenly a widespread…
Who's this ego guy, your friend?
Is all around me. And in my industry, the heights of it. So beyond the material ego, I've noticed there's now widespread spiritual ego. I've come across a lot of people who are now on a spiritual path, not you, Sadguru, who consider themselves superior to people who are not on a spiritual path. How would you advise such people to ensure that they don't fall a prey to this new spiritual ego?
First we'll address this ego guy, okay? If you show me where it is, I'll fix it right now.
I wish I knew where it was, it just keeps coming suddenly.
So, you don't know where it is. The thing is just this, see, at certain moments, as a person, as a woman, you are a beautiful person, wonderful person, I mean. I'm sorry, I didn't say only at certain times you're beautiful, you're always beautiful, but certain times you're wonderful, all right? Certain moments maybe you're nasty, possible. So whenever you're nasty, you say, it's my ego. Why don't you say, it's me, I'm sometimes wonderful, sometimes nasty. If you see this, naturally nastiness will go down. But if you say, whenever you're nasty, Mr. Ego does this, and you don't know where he is, you don't know his address or ID, nor do you know his phone number, so how do you fix this guy? So everybody has this going in their life because this is spiritual jargon without being spiritual is all over the place, particularly in India, because we have, 15, 20,000 years of spiritual history, so we know all the words. We know what Atma, Paramatma, this one, that one, Ahankara, everything we know, words only.
Words only, noted.
So we can just throw words like this and confuse the Western population quite a bit. Because if you come here, they'll say Mukti, Shakti, this one, that one, all kinds of things. I know a lot of people who've gone and set up spiritual centers in the West, particularly in America, because they just know one chant, just one chant. Okay, Asatoma Sadgamaya, with this they run the whole thing. So unfortunately, spirituality, in some ways it's come there. It's come there because there is need in the society, there is not enough source. Because of that, people are manufacturing this here and there. This happened, a few years ago, 16 years ago. And I was in the United States and then somebody in the office, our office told me, Sadhguru, did you know every day 100,000 people are typing out the word spiritual? I said, is that so? Type it out and see what comes out. Are we even there in the picture? They typed out spirituality. First thing that comes up is a spa in Mexico. You've been there? And the next thing that comes out is a call girl in Northern California. She has learned all that SEO. For everything she says spiritual, 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 108 times she uses the word spiritual on her website. You say spiritual, she comes up, number 2. I thought this is a shame. For thousands of years, anything spiritual means people looked east. East means India, that's what it meant. So I said we must start something, a spiritual gateway, that if people say if they seek spirituality, they must look towards India. Because this is one culture which has spent…
Why do they say that you can design your own destiny?
You can determine your destiny, you should. That's what being human means.
Right.
See, if you had come here like any other creature on this planet, they have compulsive cycles. They live by that, it's okay for them, because that's all they're capable of. Actually, if you look at your life, you're not doing anything very greatly different from what the other creatures are doing. They are born, you are born, you grow up, they reproduce, you reproduce, they die, you die. Nothing very different. But these same simple things we can conduct it consciously. That is the significant thing about being human. The moment you conduct it, let's say you conduct your hand consciously, now this hand will do what you want, isn't it? You won't simply sit here and do like this. Now this hand will do what you want. Suppose you conduct your thought consciously, now your thought will do what you want. If your thought was doing what you want, how would you keep yourself blissful or miserable? Blissful. If you are blissful, would you go in search of happiness? So these things that people think are the greatest things in their life, to be peaceful, joyful, nonsense, wouldn't mean a thing to you because you're blissful. But you can't say that to them, they'll feel insulted. You have to… But essentially, if your thought and emotion was taking instructions from you, you would keep yourself in the highest level of pleasantness, whatever that is, isn't it?
Correct.
Yes. If that happened, your entire life process will come to an ease, total ease. Right now this is because you're a crouching tiger. You have to go get something, always. There is nothing to get. If you sit here, your life is complete. Now it's at ease, total ease. When it's in this kind of ease, it will become perceptive. Now, just pursuing a profession, making money, or even being joyful, or being loving, or falling in love, nothing means anything to you because just sitting here, the highest level of pleasantness is happening to you. So what would you do with that life? Naturally, you would explore something that is not in your perception right now. This is how spiritual process begins. This is how you take charge of your life. Now you wish for something, it happened. I want you to know this. For most people, at least 50% of what they wish happens. It is just that they are focusing on a few things that did not happen. If you want to be fair in a reasonably well-settled society, 90% of what they wish happens. It is the 10% they're complaining about.
Yeah.
Hello? Isn't it so? 90% of your life is happening the way you want it. The 10% you're cribbing, you're never enjoying the 90% because this 10% did not happen the way you wanted.
Yeah.
So already, to a large extent, you're in control of your destiny. A little is going off, but that little can bother you. Let's say you have to drive 100 kilometers. 90 kilometers you went properly where you want to go. At the 91st kilometer you crashed. Still it's not good, isn't it? So That's why they're complaining. I'm not saying they're complaining for nothing. Because at 90 kilometers, everything went well. Just before reaching, something crashed. So they still suffer for that. Now, right now, this is because situations are happening around us. Not all situations will ever happen the way we want it. Because situation is not just me. Situation is so many people involved, so many forces involved. All of them need not happen my way. But if I'm happening my way, I'm blissful, okay? Whether the golf ball flies straight or goes into the mountains, I'm still blissful.
As long as you're playing golf.
Even if I'm not playing.
Right. So now coming to this, now as long as things happen your way and you're on your own path and you're blissful and positive.
No. I'm not saying as long as things happen your way, you will be blissful. If
No,
you're blissful,
things will
it
happen.
doesn't matter which way it happens.
Right.
Whichever way it happens, you're blissful.
Right.
See, this is essentially, the world has put cart before the horse. You tell me, it is easier to take charge of yourself or it's easier to take charge of all these people?
It's tougher to take charge of yourself,
Oh, you can take charge of these people, try.
Why I'm saying that is because people don't realize that they need to take charge of themselves and are out there to take charge of societies and communities and people and trying to change
No,
others.
right now, you're sitting here.
To myself.
Is it easier to take charge of yourself or take charge of all these people?
Myself.
Yourself. You must first do that, no? What is simple and easy? If you take charge of yourself, let us see how much we can get cooperation from these people. Now, when you say you're in pursuit of happiness, what this means is, you want all of them to function the way you want. Now, when we say, if this happens, I will be happy, if that happens, I will be happy, what it means is, the world should function, the universe should respond your way.
That's not what I'm saying. No, I don't believe in that because that's trying to put conditionality into everything that this is how it should function according to me. What I was saying was that okay, for example, a very basic example of somebody wants to be an actor or somebody wants to be a cricketer, and I'm taking a very basic example of what you want to do in life. And you work…
Let's say it did not happen. It did not happen means what? People did not like your acting, or the selectors did not like your cricket, something happened.
Right.
So what you want did not happen. Can you still sit here blissfully? That's a question.
Not a lot of people.
That is why I'm saying, what you're trying to do is, when you say, everybody should like what I'm doing, in some way you have to take charge of their minds, that's what you're doing. In some way, through your cinema or whatever, in some way you're taking charge of their mind and doing what appeals to them, and that's why it's working, isn't it? Otherwise it won't be working. So, which is easier, taking charge of this or taking charge of them? This. If you take charge of this, now you are not in pursuit of your happiness, you are not tense about anything, there is no, sword hanging on your head. You will do everything to the fullest, to the hilt, because you don't care what happens. Whatever happens, you'll be still fine, this much you know. Now you will naturally do everything wonderfully well because there's absolutely no concern, because you're not a vested interest anymore. You will do what is needed without any effort.